If you would like to get some more custom players in the league, you can let us know on our Discord, which is linked below, or in the comments. Just let us know what name you want for your player, keep it appropriate. If you want, you can also pick where they are from, their jersey number and position. But if you want just the name and the rest random, that is okay too.
What up, small ballers? Our first game is Dominican against Phoenix.
Home run. Sam Valdez leads off the top of the first with a beauty.
Daisher Kajiwara follows that up by getting a triple.
After one out, Rai Flores would hit into an out, but the runner would score from third too.
Wyatt Graham would come up first in the bottom half. He would hit a solo home run. Phoenix is trying to battle back.
Then with runners on second and third and 2 outs, down by 1, Radoslav Krostev would hit a double, scoring both runners for a phenomenal win.
The next game was the Love Doctors versus the Assassins.
Brian Brown would come up with 1 out and a runner on third in the bottom of the first.
A sacrifice fly would then walk off this match.
Then Boston would face off against Jamaica. Boston would load the bases, with only 1 out in the top of the second.
2 quick outs would change everything.
Vince Neil would lead off the bottom of the third.
Home run. Speed walk-off.
The next game was the Denver Dark Elves against the London Regulators.
In the top of the second, Tom Chapman Brown would hit a 1-out double. Albert Moreau would then single to bring Tom into score.
The Regulators would load the bases, with no outs in the bottom half.
This brought up Kyle Scarton. He would hit into an out.
Then Juan Pablo Cantos would end up striking out.
John Johnson would also strike out. Denver holds on to the win.
We would see Ajax facing Houston once again.
With 1 out in the top of the first, Justin Dykes would hit a solo home run.
Love Doctors load the bases with 1 out.
Daniel Prince hits a single to tie the game.
Tyler Tapia would then walk the game off with a double.
Our next game saw Boston Blood Sweat Beards taking on the Dominican Suns.
With 1 out in the bottom of the second, Dominique Robinson would get walked. This brought up Dalkey Tarragona, who would hit a home run, winning this game for the Suns.
Then the London Regulators would play the Phoenix Phenomenon.
With 1 out in the top of the first, Keith Brown would hit a home run to give the Regulators a 1-0 lead.
Phoenix could not respond in this game. Regulators win.
Jamaica Speed would then play the Denver Dark Elves.
In the bottom of the third, with 2 runners on and 1 out, Alonzo Jacques Lewis would hit a walk-off dinger.
Then the Cosby Eagles would be up against the St. Louis Angry Redbirds.
In the top of the second, Randon Katz came up to bat with 1 out and runners and first and second.
A single would score the runner from second base.
St. Louis wouldn't manage to even get a runner on base and would lose this game.
Cosby would play again right after, this time against Phoenix.
In the top of the fifth, Evan Rosie would lead off with a home run.
That would be the only scoring in this game.
The next game is between the Regulators and the Love Doctors.
In the top of the second, with 2 outs, Juan Pablo Cantos would get walked to load the bases.
Anthony Iguagu would then drive in 1 run with a single.
The Houston Love Doctors were unable to respond, and London wins.
The next matchup was Jamaica Speed versus St. Louis Angry Redbirds.
With 2 outs and a runner on second in the bottom of the first, Kyle Sanchez would hit a walk-off double.
Then the Ajax Assassins would face off with the Dominican Suns.
With 2 outs and a runner at first, Rai Flores hits a single. Jovan Bryant then would also single to score the runner from second.
Then it was time for Denver versus Boston.
Terry Condon hits an early 2-run home run.
Blood, Sweat, and Beards was not enough in the bottom half, and the Dark Elves win.
Then Houston faced St. Louis. In the bottom of the first, Aaron Francis lead off with a single and then stole second base.
Joey McKinney would take advantage of the situation with a single of his own. Aaron Francis would score from second and Angry Redbirds take the win.
The classic rivalry of Phenomenon against Jamaica Speed would be next.
After Aluino Prado hits a single to put runners on first and second with one out in the bottom of the third, Borja Aaron would step to the plate.
A double would score a run and Jamaica is victorious.
Houston against Dominican doesn't have the same feel to it as last season right now.
After a leadoff single in the top of the second by Washington Barramar, Daniel Prince would come to the plate.
Washington Barramar would attempt to steal second.
Safe. With no throw.
A few pitches later, Daniel Prince gets a huge home run.
In the bottom half with 2 outs and a runner on second, Dominique Robinson hits a single and makes it a 1-run game.
The next batter, Dalkey Tarragona, would strike out and Houston wins.
The next game saw Ajax Assassins against Jamaica Speed.
Borja Aaron does something amazing.
He did the
thing.
Speed succeed.
Then the Phoenix Phenomenon took on the Denver Dark Elves.
After a leadoff single by Wyatt Graham to open the game, Paul Richards would hit a 2-run homer.
Denver did nothing to try and come back. Phenomenon win.
Our last game for this SBTV report is between St. Louis and London.
With 1 out, Joey McKinney would single followed by a Michael Decker walk.
Kyle Sanchez would then hit a double to cash in the runner from second.
The Regulators would not score. Angry Redbirds win.
In the standings, we can see the Eagles have a slight lead over the Dark Elves.
The Speed and Angry Redbirds are pretty close too.
Good point, Old Standard. By Smallballers.